I wasted a lot of time on Tinder as an atheist and a deist, largely because it was a laugh and I wanted to meet people. I got a pretty high number of matches, to be honest, over about a week period, and I got 2 dates overall, but nothing long-term came of them. The people who have been in this community for a while will know that, of course, Tinder is a waste of time. But the thing is that these criticisms apply to all online dating. So we will start with some of the really obvious, basic criticisms of Tinder. The women there are seeking attention, of course, with all of the Instagram links on their profiles. The men are ranked far, far lower by women than men rank women on there, because men, predominantly when getting women, operate on their minds and their soul, whereas women can rely on their looks, often. And the soul obviously isn't expressible in a profile. And finally, it's promiscuous, and it doesn't really last that long. Generally, you ain't gonna get any long-term relationships out of something like Tinder. Now, of course, all of these are very, very true. Tinder's obviously designed to be promiscuous. It's designed for women who are seeking attention and for men who want cheap sex. Let's not beat around the bush here. However, I want to talk about something far, far more significant that applies to all dating sites, with Tinder being the prime and platonic form of this problem. Now, the first problem is that profiles are created by a person, and in real life, the presence of a person gives you far more information and more dimensioned than the first impression that you get through a dating profile. Of course, a person can hide particular things from you and can even use a picture of somebody else. It's important to remember that a majority of communication between any people is non-verbal, and that based on this alone you can get a lot more from a face-to-face conversation with a person over the course of 5 minutes than from a load of text chat on an app. And of course, the app and the website dimension removes all of this, and this sort of behaviour is incredibly important to discern, because you may well just be wasting your time. Or even worse, you may have ended up with somebody who would cause you real problems because of these particular attributes. But far more crucially, it removes the requirement to make conversation in real life. All men need to learn how to be good at conversation, but very few are, because of phones and the internet. People aren't out there talking and developing their social skills as they were, say, 50 years ago, because people just have their phones and they can just send a cheeky emoji. However, on top of the phones and the internet is that implicit egotism of our particular age and generation. How many men have gone out on first dates and gone on and on and on and on and on about themselves, and then are surprised when they never get a second? To be honest, mate, she's not interested in your train collection. When you can get a woman reliably to laugh and to talk about her and get interesting tangents out of her conversation, then you are good at talking. It's actually quite satisfying to talk about a person, find something interesting about them, and try and draw that out into an extended conversation, you know? Because a lot of people hate small talk, I'm not one of them. But you can often take from that small talk an interesting topic and then actually make a really, really good conversation out of it and develop to be closer to that person, if you like them. It'll also require you to develop your virtue of courage, because you have to have the balls to go talk to her, which even now I struggle with. Heck, it was the Monday before last that I, for the very first time, went up to women of my own volition and just started talking to them, right? Beforehand, I'd just rely on my older friends to get their attention and then chat and do what that was. But then eventually, I sort of got the courage to do it myself with another friend, and it developed into a really nice conversation. And finally, it also places you in the midst of women who want attention on some level. Women can of course sit there, and most will find a boyfriend, although not necessarily the one they want. Often they'll find a really poor quality one if they just sit there, right? So, when they are on dating apps, especially Tinder, they'll often want just attention beyond what they'd usually get. And you can see that this motivation is transparent when you look at all the profiles or all the Tinder accounts on it. They're only there really for attention, and maybe a little bit of action on the side. Now, you don't want an attention-seeking woman, because she'll cause you tons of problems. She might cheat on you, she might drag you into situations you don't want to be in, purely of her own volition. You don't want that in your life. You don't want someone who's going to cause you problems. You want someone who can love you mutually. So I'd avoid that. And honestly, it's very, very rare that you find women in another category on Tinder. Those people who are online because they want a better quality man than they can find in real life, or one who is stuck in a friends group and wants out, and so they use online interaction to do that. You won't find these women, they're quite rare. However, is it really worth the risk to find the latter two group of women when you could just go to a bar and meet them there? You know, you could go to a bar and develop some social skills in the process. And you've also got a lot of those women who are just kind of quiet there as well. So you've got a better variation of women. So, in short, don't just delete Tinder. Delete all those sorts of apps. Stop wasting your time. Go out into the world and develop virtue while you meet people. You'll be a much better man for it. Thank you very much for watching. A very big thank you to those on the list here. These are subscribers to the Renaissance Man program who get audio books and controversial videos every week for $5 a month. There's already quite a lot of content there, so if you check it out in the description, you won't be missing out. Thank you.